probably my brothers, Link and Beechard, weren't going to hell either. But I wondered about my youngest brother, Johnny Clay, and then I began to cry. Later that night, when me and Johnny Clay were lying in our beds pretending to sleep, I whispered, "If you was to die, would you go to hell?" I had shared a room with Sweet Fern until she got married, and then Johnny Clay moved in with me. There was silence from his bed, and for a moment I thought he might actually be sleeping. Then he said, "I guess." I sat straight up and looked at him, trying to catch his face in the darkness to see if he was fooling or not. He rolled over and propped himself up with one arm. "Why you want to know about hell, Velva Jean?" "Daddy says if we ain't saved, that's where we're going, because we're all sinners till we've been born again." Johnny Clay seemed to consider this. "I guess," he said again. "I'm gonna get myself saved," I said. "If it's the very last thing I do, I ain't going to hell." "Even if I'm there?" "It ain't funny, Johnny Clay. I'm answering the altar call at camp meeting, and I'm gonna pray and pray for Jesus to save me." "You don't even know how to pray, Velva Jean." Johnny Clay was smart. He was 12 years old, and he knew everything about everything. He'd been an expert gold panner since he was 9. He'd been driving since he was 10, and at school he was the marble champion 3 years running. He was also the bravest person I knew. I just worshipped him. "I know, but I'm going to start praying anyway. I'm going to start doing it right now." And I got out of my bed and kneeled down beside it and closed my eyes tight. Tried to remember how Mama always began. There was a sigh and a rustling from Johnny Clay's bed, and then he was beside me on the floor, hands clasped. "Okay, Lord," he said. "Please be merciful on us sinners. Please don't let us die anytime soon. And if we do, please don't send me and Velva Jean to hell. We just can't stand it if we die and go to hell." "Amen," I whispered. The first day of camp meeting, I could barely sit still. "Stop fidgeting," Sweet Fern hissed at me across Beechard and Johnny Clay. Sweet Fern couldn't stand for people to fidget, most particularly me, her own sister. She said it wasn't something that ladies did, even though she knew I wasn't one bit interested in being a lady. Still, I decided it wasn't a good idea to talk back while I was on the path to salvation, so I sat on my hands to keep from picking at my nails and my dress. Johnny Clay kept poking me in the leg, trying to get me to thumb wrestle, but I stared straight ahead and waited for the altar call. Reverend Broomfield, the Baptist preacher, said he wanted only the backsliders, those who had been saved already and then lost their way. One by one, they went up to the altar and rededicated their lives to Jesus, and then everyone sang, and Mrs. Broomfield announced the serving of the potluck supper. On the second day, Reverend Broomfield said he wanted all the feuding neighbors to come forward so that he could talk to them about forgiveness and put them on speaking terms again. And afterward, we all sang, and Mrs. Broomfield announced the supper. On the third day, Reverend Broomfield and Reverend Nix, who was the preacher at our church, asked for all the sinners who wanted to be saved. I sat straight up and paid attention. Reverend Broomfield promised salvation to anyone who needed it, and all you had to do was come up to the altar and kneel down and say that you loved and accepted Jesus and would live your life for him now and forever. I wondered what that meant exactly. If I could live my life for Jesus and still be a singer at the Grand Ole Opry, with an outfit made of satin and rhinestones and a pair of high-heeled boots. To sing at the Grand Ole Opry and wear an outfit made of rhinestones was my life's dream. One by one, I watched the other sinners take their places at the altar. I did not want to go to hell, but I did not want to give up my dreams either. I sat there.